Yeehaw! Yeehaw! I'm hitting the paper. Empty. Not empty. Now we're empty. Yes, Hickok 45 playing cowboy again. You all catch me doing this, don't you? Pretty often. So we'll point them through the sky, even though they're empty, and come back to the shooting table. You know, that is one thing that's a problem. Y'all might not have thought about that. Whenever we're dual wielding with handguns, it's kind of a weird situation, because in order to keep the muzzle safe, and even though when you know they're empty, like I can't really get my ears off, and you can't really do anything. You know, you end up pointing it somewhere you shouldn't be pointing it, so you got to just kind of make your way to some point, unless you have holsters on, where you can, you know, just lay them down or whatever. We always want to be safe. All right, yes, Cock 45, and we're going to do a little comparison here between two pretty popular handguns, and especially, of course, the Rough Rider has been around for a good while, various configurations, and the Ruger Wrangler is a relatively new entry into the world of 22 single action revolvers, right? And you've seen our videos on both of these probably. I'll link to those, to at least a couple of them. So back to the topic. Thought that, you know, you might be interested. I was kind of interested. We've had the Rough Rider here, and we had one in large caliber, in fact, and we've done the 22. It was a convertible 22 Magnum 22 long rifle, and now this one is just 22 long rifle. So I thought we'd get another one in from Buds that was just 22 long rifle, and do a little bit of comparison, apples to apples, and just kind of give you our impressions of which one we would prefer, maybe, and, you know, some negatives and positives of them. All right, so feel free, if you have one or both of these, to share your impressions of these. If you have fired both of these especially, or if you just had a lot of experience with one of them, you know, share your opinion, because a lot of people are probably looking at these. They're in a price range that would you know, lend us to think that. Let's see, the Heritage Rough Rider, around 170, okay, bucks, depending on, you know, where you get it and all that kind of thing, and which configuration. But this one, I think you could get for about 170, no Magnum cylinder or anything. And then the Ruger Wrangler is, you can buy them for around 200, okay? I think at 199, you might see them for 205, 209 or something. Yeah, prices may change by the time you're watching this, I don't know, but you're talking maybe $30 difference or something, maybe 40, maybe less, I don't know, but there is a little difference, okay? But if you really like one of them over the other significantly at all, you know, it's not enough to worry about on that money probably. So they're not too far away from one another in terms of price. Okay, and they're both single action. Again, for new shooters, they're single action revolvers, kind of in the spirit of the old Colt single action, right from the days of the Wild West. The Ruger opens up like that, like their new model Rugers do, their big bore stuff. You don't have to cock the hammer. It's got that action, the transfer bar and all that, where you just open up the loading gate, and you don't need to mess with the trigger or the hammer, and you can eject the rounds. Okay, 22s are a little more problematic. It's not hard to find that hole with a 45, is it? So it holds 6. Okay, so the Ruger Wrangler holds 6. Hopefully you've seen our video on the Ruger Wrangler. We held one of them back for this, and we got all 3 of them. You might have seen in different colors. There's a black and silver, almost forgotten now. And I kept this one. No one would want to do this comparison, so we'll send all these back. And I guess you'll see these in a couple of different e-gunner auctions, you know, like at Buds, you know, it's their thing. But this one does hold 6, the Ruger Wrangler. That's one of the big differences, because this one, the Rough Rider, holds 9. Okay, now you do the half cock on this, so it's more traditional in that sense, in the action. The cylinder doesn't turn as, I mean, it's turning as designed. It's not like it's broken or anything like that. It's just a different sort of thing there. you gotta push it around. Very distinctive lockup and everything. But it doesn't feel like there's something wrong with it. Okay, it's just, you notice that. See, so it's just different. You know, when you open up the Ruger Wrangler, you know, it's just freewheeling, of course. It doesn't mean this is better in that regard, but that's the way that works. All right, so it holds 9 single action, so it operates like a traditional old style Colt or something. Now the one thing that's not, and I'll go ahead and tell you, I think this is the biggest negative on this firearm, and that's the safety. So you see there, if you push that up, it's on safe, and you see how it operates. See that bar going across there? You see red, and when that's down, that means the hammer will engage that firing pin fully, see, and make it fire. But when I push that up, that bar kind of folds there, and now it prevents the hammer from hitting the firing pin. See, it's all the way down as far as it'll go. So if I pull it, let it hit, see, so it's not going to hit the firing pin. So that's the safety. That's your safety. Okay, it's kind of an external, very obvious, you know, what it is, rather than like the Ruger transfer bars and those sorts of things. Okay, so you do have a safety, whereas you don't on the old Colts and that sort of thing. But and then you got to half cock it in order to turn the cylinder. So on one hand, that's kind of a positive. It's the same action in a way as the old Colt single action. That's kind of cool, and it even has a pretty good trigger and all that. But you do have this very unsightly safety, what I consider, because it's on the single action. You know, if you had some kind of gizmo like that on a you know, polymer 9mm, maybe it's not as big a deal, but you know, on a single action, that's a hard one to stomach if you're a traditionalist like I am. But it's a $170 22 long rifle pistol, so revolver. You know, it is what it is. All right, so so negatives and positives, and I'll load them up, shoot them some more. Let's load the Ruger. I guess you could say a negative is this one just holds 6. And I do like, you've heard me say before, a 22 caliber revolver. It just is so cool if it'll hold more than 6 rounds. I mean, you know, I'm an old traditionalist. Yeah, 6 shooter. I get that, but hey, man, it's a 22. You got all that steel. It's so simple, easy for me to say, but 2 chambers for at least 8 rounds. You know, maybe 9. Okay, so we're loaded. Okay, let's load this one too. And this one, I'm going to half cock it and put 9 in it. Okay, that, yeah, and it's a little bit of a negative where the cylinder is so stiff to turn, but it'll loosen up. Probably it would loosen up. I won't have it long enough to loosen up, but if you're shooting the thing much, cleaning it and messing with it would probably loosen up a little bit on the action. But it's cool when they hold 9 rounds. Although, you know, with a single action, I don't know, maybe it's not as big a factor as with a double action swing out cylinder type revolver in 22, like my 617 or something, because whether it holds 6 or 9, as you see, it's, you know, it just takes longer to load a single action. Now with this, I have the safety on, and that's probably a good way to do that. And then when I'm ready to fire, just take the safety off. Okay, I'll just leave that on. Okay, that way I've got all chambers loaded. All right. Okay, so let's shoot them again. Let's just shoot something. We won't shoot all day. I just want to give you a look at these and not shoot too much or talk too much. Just give you an idea of what you'd be looking at here, what you might prefer. Tell you what you should prefer. How's that? Let's do a 2-liter. We'll see if they're both 2-liter worthy. All right, let's see if they're bowling pin worthy. Well, maybe I'm not worthy. Let's see if they're pig worthy. I think I have another round for that pig. Boom, got him. Let's hit him again. All right, now we're not going to hit him anymore. We're empty. Okay, so open that up, and there it is. Okay, 6 rounds. All right, now let's try this baby. Now this one has a little bit better trigger. Let's just go ahead and reach out through the gong. What the heck? Take the safety off. I think if I hold a little bit higher, All right, got him. 80 yards. All right, let's try him again. I think I heard it. Let's try the cowboy, some stuff right here. I should be shooting with one hand, right? Like John Wayne would do, or Wyatt Earp. Boom. Fun little guns, and no telling how many of these have sold because of that price point. It's a 22, and there's no telling how many young people and old people. I'm a young person, but there's probably old people that like these too. Just plinking with a 22. And if you have any cowboy in you, even though they're a little more awkward and slower to load, it's just neat. So they're both empty, even though they have cases in them. So one thing I wanted to talk about is the ergonomics of it a little bit. I think the Ruger feels better, partly maybe because it doesn't have that obnoxious safety on it, but it just feels more like a traditional big bore signal action. There's just something about it. It just feels good. I just kind of like the lines of it. This one feels fine. Again, the safety is kind of weird. Weirds a lot of people out. But the ergonomics are fine on both of them. The sights, are not bad. They're both non-adjustable, of course. So you don't really gain a great deal with either one of them in terms of function, other than having more rounds in the Rough Rider. And you got more, I think, more of all steel on the Rough Rider, and like in the barrel and everything. The more alloy on the Ruger, maybe, and then of course the Cerakote on the finish. But I looked at the weights on them. They don't weigh all that much different. I think the Rough Rider is 32 or 3 ounces, and this one's 30 ounces, point something. There's not a lot of difference there. You're not going to be packing them all day. It wouldn't matter much anyway. At least as a defensive handgun. So there's not enough difference to matter that much. And again, they're a low. Look at the fitting on the grip. Now, if you bought a $2,000 Colt and you had that kind of fit, wood to steel or wood to alloy there, whatever, you wouldn't like that a bit, would you? But you just tell there's some alloy and pot metal here and there, and but again, $170, and it's a gun that tends to work. If you've had a lot of trouble with them, or any trouble, let us know. Or you've had no trouble. I'm not fishing for negativity here. I have learned on the internet, guess what? You don't have to fish very much for negativity. You don't even need any bait, do you? It's going to come. But yeah, just give us your honest opinions of these things. We'll unload it, maybe shoot them one more time. So price-wise, not a lot of difference, about $30 in that ballpark. That this one's less, the Rough Rider, and the feel is similar on both of them. I've shot both of them and hit the gong with both of them, and just plates and stuff mess around here. They both shoot fine. I'm sure that both would outlast any of us. I hope they would, because you're not exactly firing a Magnum round here. So I think a lot of it would come down to capacity and maybe name brand. That's a big difference. While Ruger is not necessarily known for exquisite quality or top of the line, anything like that. They make good guns at an economical price. We know that, don't we? And they're just a major manufacturer that makes so many different firearms. So you got that behind like the Ruger Wrangler, and it feels solid. And we've shot the other two I had, and no issues with them. My guess is, if we'll see what people say, there's probably more issues with the Rough Rider. If of course it's been out longer, keep that in mind if you see much negativity too. But I get the feeling the Ruger is just maybe a more solid piece. But I don't know. This thing seems to work. For one thing, this original Colt type action is probably a little more fragile, than the Ruger, just as with the big guns. So it is more likely maybe to get out of timing or have some issue with it. But they managed to make it a 9-shot cylinder, and I think that's not easy, so that's pretty impressive. So I think a lot of people would probably come down as the name brand, the company being a point in favor of the Ruger. You know, maybe not by a lot, but it probably would be for a lot of people. So you got the price, not a lot of difference. The sights, not a lot of difference. The feel, not a lot of difference. Fun factor, just right down the line. Trigger, I think the trigger on the, I know we don't want to be shooting 22s too much without ammo, but the trigger is better on the Rough Rider, okay? It just is. It's more of a kind of a spongy pull through on this one. Yeah, it's not horrible, but a little more. So we'll shoot them one more time, then let you get out of here. And let us get on to other things to where we can bore you maybe with another gun somewhere, who knows. Oh boy, 22. I don't shoot 22 as much as a lot of people, do. Of course, I grew up with it. It's all I shot when I was a teenager, and I'm gonna load them both. But it's always fun to get one out. It's I forget how much fun 22s are. Just don't hang around 22 Plinkster enough, I guess. And of course, there's some really high quality firearms chambered in 22 long rifle, right? And these I wouldn't say are them. They're not necessarily something you say, wow, what an incredible firearm. But for a couple $100 and under, you can be a cowboy too and go plinking and maybe just shoot all day. And you're probably not going to get the hang-ups that you get with a semi-automatic 22, after they get dirty, because they all do that. And these would too, when they get really dirty. But you can generally get more rounds through a revolver before you start having issues with that dirty ammo that's on fire. It's not safe. All right, so we'll shoot them both one more time. Maybe I'll just bring them both out here and switch hands. Put my ears on. All right, let's shoot some plates here. Let's just shoot that 2-liter load too. You know what? I didn't take the safety off. See, now, there I go. I wouldn't want to carry this for self-defense. I'd probably end up getting killed for lack of shooting back, right? Ooh, I'm going to shoot him again. Watch that. Yeah, why not? I like that bowling pin, maybe. Yep. Yeah, man. Fun to plink with a 22. Yeah, so he's empty. Let's put the safety on to make sure, because I'm going to stick it in my back belt. All right, now shoot the Ruger. Let's put some on that old cowboy. That's a good way to wind up with a Western style firearm, isn't it? Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. I think that was it. Yeah. Oh yeah, nice firearm for a budding cowboy, right? Someone who, they're going to be a cowboy, it's just a matter of time. Right now, they're just a youngster. Again, though, you don't have to be a youngster to enjoy these kinds of firearms. So, I kind of touched on most of the negatives and positives. I think the frame is a little funky on this. I just soon have a blue frame rather than that. I guess it's a little bit of a lame attempt at color case hardening. I'd rather just have like a solid color Cerakoting. I'm not crazy about Cerakoting, but I'd rather have, if I were going to buy this gun, I'd order one in probably just all blue. So that would be a negative for me. But the trigger's definitely a little bit better on this one. You got more of an old style feel to it. I think the barrel's a little bit heavier. So it feels more like a, I don't know, I won't say a real firearm, but it kind of does because the action, the clicks and everything. But then again, you got that safety, so it kind of cancels that out. Which one would I buy? Gosh, if I was going to buy just one of them, it's kind of a tough one. Probably the Ruger, but it's not by a big long margin. So anyway, just thought I'd give you a look at both of those and point out some things I like or don't like about each of them, and also let you know they're out there. If you got a little cowboy in you, maybe you weren't aware that Ruger's even come out with this, and you're not even fully aware of these. You were thinking you just gotten into firearms, and in order to be a cowboy and get a cowboy gun, quote unquote, you're going to have to spend a couple $1,000s or something, or even $500 to get a Colt clone, you know, and that's not the case. So there's stuff like this out here, and they're both cool. And by the way, I didn't take them apart on the in the video. Wait a minute, we're still in the video, aren't we? Yeah, we are. But I have taken the cylinder out and the base pins and everything, and they both come apart, you know, very simply, no problems there, which is always something I hate if there is a problem. But they both come apart just fine, and seem to be built just fine to withstand the .22 caliber rifle or cartridge. So anyway, appreciate y'all coming around, and a couple more choices. Some of you don't express your inner cowboy enough. You really don't, and you know, it's just something I want to see you do. And if you're just not sure about it, maybe this would be a good place to start. Start at a low level with a .22 long rifle and get that cowboy side of you started, okay? And then you can graduate later to big bore. So glad you came out. We appreciate y'all. Life is good.
Hey, go long. Oh hey, just throwing a little frisbee here on the range. While you're here, I want to remind you to check us out in some other places on the internet and our friends over at Talon Grips. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter under Hickok45, and on Instagram under The Real Hickok45 and John_Hickok45. Also go to bunkerbranding.com for our t-shirts, hats, patches, and stickers. So we appreciate, of course, the support from Talon Grips. Go to talongungrips.com. They make all sorts of different textured grips for handguns and rifles. Dad's been using them for a lot of years. They do great work, and we're happy to have them on board, so please check them out, talongungrips.com. And then also, don't forget, we have videos on Gunstreamer now, so if you're watching them over there, you probably already know about it, but if you're not, you might not, so maybe check that out, gunstreamer.com. And hey, there's some more videos being recommended to you that you should probably be watching right now, so I'll let you go. Thanks.